Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to take a bit of a step back in time and go through some of the things that I have been doing in the past few months around design and inspiration. I think it will be really good for you to see what it is that we're working towards, so as and when we make progress you know exactly what the end destination is. Hopefully by the end of this video you'll be able to see our vision too. Some people may say don't get ahead of yourself, but I think because it's one of the most exciting phases, drag it out for as long as you can and enjoy it. I think it really helps when you know what your end goal and destination is to keep you motivated along the way, especially when you're aching, you're covered in dirt, sweat, dust, mud. Apologies it's taken us a little bit longer to get this video up. We are trying to stick to a 1 week schedule, but considering we both work full time, are doing a house renovation and trying to do this YouTube channel, plus still have time for friends and family, it can be a little bit challenging sometimes, so please bear with us. Let's jump into it, and I've got my computer in front of me so that I can take you through it. So one of the biggest tools that I've been using is Pinterest, and let me tell you, I think I've spent way too many hours scrolling through for inspiration. I've created boards for each of the main spaces in the house, and today I just want to take you through each of them. I'll pull out some specific images and then I'll break down what I love about them and also how we're planning to bring some of those elements into our own home when we do our designing. And that's everything from colour schemes, the materials, the layout ideas, and it's sort of really where the vision starts coming together. So let's start with the outside of the house. So this home board is a little bit of a mix, and it originally started as a place where I sort of saved down all of the house exteriors that I felt drawn to, and without really thinking about why. But when it came time for us to choose the windows, I noticed that every single inspiration photo that I had saved had Georgian bars, so that was completely unintentional, and that made our decision on the windows a lot easier. So sometimes it's good to get started with your design before, even if it's not, you haven't bought your house yet, or maybe you haven't even started looking, but it does sort of really help you find your niche in terms of your design and what it is that you like. Now I know some people might say it's not a Georgian property, so why go for Georgian bars? And I do get that, but I also feel like that window style really suits the countryside cottage feeling that we're going for, and so for me it makes sense. So our home is currently red brick, but as I was scrolling through all of my saved images, I realized that a lot of them seem to be always light and bright and white neutral exteriors, and so since our brick is on the stronger side of red, we've decided that at some point we are going to paint it. So I've also saved some exterior door inspiration, and for the back door I definitely want something with glass in to let more light, so something like this with the Georgian bar. But for the front door we're debating on what to do with the porch area, so maybe that's something that you guys can help us with. Would you have the glass door on the outside and then the solid door leading into the main house? Would you have it the other way around, or would you have glass on both? Let me know in the comments what you think, because that's something I'm really stuck on. I don't know if there's a right or wrong way to do it. At some point we also need to replace our garage doors, and so I've saved some barn style inspiration here. I love the idea of climbing plants going around the house, and some of these photos will show clematis, some will show roses. I just think it looks absolutely beautiful and really charming. At the front of the property we have like a 3 to 4 foot picket fence that will need replacing, and I'd love to go for the classic white picket fence, but it will need to be secure for Freddie so that we make sure that there's no escape routes for him. And finally, something quite small but I think quite charming. I love the idea of having an old style letterbox or a custom house sign. I think it might be one of those sort of like final touches to really bring everything together. For the inside, let's start with the kitchen. At this point, I think I've really narrowed down the overall kitchen design. Most of my inspiration pictures look pretty similar. I actually started getting quotes back in November, and now we're March. So I absolutely love the look of two-tone with the ivory neutral cabinets on the perimeter, and then the like rich warm wood stain on the island. The contrast, I think, makes this feel a lot more custom and a lot more high-end. So our flooring is going to be lighter than the island units, but it's not going to be quite as different in contrast to some of these images. We're going to be doing LVT, which is luxury vinyl tile, and it's like a laminate click flooring. So the sink's going to be right in front of the window, which I think is just going to be such a lovely view when washing up. We're going for gold taps, handles, and then hopefully some in like the light fixtures as well. So all of our wall units are going to be full height going up to the ceiling. Our ceilings in the UK aren't as tall as some of the houses in the US, but doing this trick does really make it feel like the room is a lot taller. For the worktops, we love something light and bright. I don't mind a veined look, but I don't really want anything too pronounced. So one feature I absolutely love is the antique style glass splashback that's going to be behind our range cooker, and it adds a bit of that vintage charm. So one thing that we haven't decided on yet is the plinth, and that's the base trim that goes under the cabinets. The island will have a decorative plinth, but we're debating whether to continue that round the perimeter of the island. I think it really finishes the design off, but the more recessed standard plinths that you get with most kitchens are actually more practical, since they allow you to get a little bit closer to the cabinets without your feet knocking on the wood. Let us know what you think we should go with in the comments. So we'll only have one set of stairs in the house because we do currently have a bungalow, and they're actually quite a big part of the overall renovation plan because hopefully they will lead to a loft conversion in the future. And we're planning to stain the tread and the handrail the same colour as the flooring that we're looking to choose, and then the risers and the spindles are going to be a lovely white sort of ivory colour just to keep it nice and bright and then quite classic as well. One thing that we haven't quite decided on is what to do with the space under the stairs. So there are so many different options in terms of, do we turn it into like a stylish bar area? Do we do a decorative nook with some nice shelving? And then there's Josh's idea, which is a TV in the kitchen diner. I'm not the biggest fan of having a TV in the space, but maybe if we put it under the stairs, then that could be a compromise. And this photo of stairs has literally lived in my head rent-free for so many months now. So next up is the utility room, and we are planning on installing some sliding pocket doors here. And while it's not a tiny utility room, we do still want to maximize the space and avoid like a traditional swinging door. Plus the hallway that leads into the utility room is a bit narrower, so a pocket door just sort of makes sense. This will definitely be a DIY project that will be featuring on the channel in the future. I haven't decided on the exact colour for the door yet, but I should imagine that it will likely match with the internal doors. Ideally, I'm looking for something that's an obscured glass, so I really like the idea of this with like the texture, but if the budget doesn't allow, then we may just end up going for some form of frosted film. We would absolutely love to carry the cabinetry from the kitchen through to the utility room, but that will depend on cost. Since this isn't a space that needs to necessarily feel high-end, we will be saving money here where we can. And so, for example, we're going to skip the quartz worktop and we'll probably go for something like laminate or composite instead. We will have a second sink by the window, which will be perfect for like extra washing up space and also cleaning out some of like the cleaning supplies and the dirty bits. Our washing machine and dryer will sit side by side on the floor so that will create a lovely worktop space above them. And I absolutely love the idea of having a hanging rail across the top. I just think it's going to be perfect for drying Josh's shirts because, let's be honest, I am not one to iron. And lastly, we will have a tool utility cupboard, so that will have all of the mops, brushes, vacuum, cleaning supplies, all of that. Keep that nice and tucked away and organised. So next up is the hallway, which is the first space that you're going to see when you walk into the house. So we want to make sure this feels really lovely, warm and welcoming. Initially, this board does look a little heavy on the paneling, but we are planning to do it in a more modest way, just enough to add some detail and avoid having some plain walls. We did DIY some paneling in our old bedroom and it did make the space look amazing. One of the great things about our hallway is that it's actually quite wide, which gives us the opportunity to add some functional storage. So we're thinking of including some form of mini bench to sit on while we're able to put on our shoes, along with some cabinetry. We haven't quite figured out where to place this yet, but I'm sure that some form of IKEA Pax hack is probably going to make an appearance in this channel at some point. And then depending on the space, I'd also love to add a wooden entryway table, something simple but stylish, and maybe that's something where we can find a bargain or do a bit of antique shopping, bring a bit of character into the space. So when it comes to the office, I'll be honest, I haven't quite nailed this one down on the exact style and design yet. This is still very much a work in progress board and I'm still gathering lots of ideas. One thing that I keep coming back to is having the desk facing the window, which makes sense because for now our office will be in one of the smaller bedrooms until we hopefully do a loft conversion in the future. The window in that small bedroom does look out over the garden and the fields, which would be such a nice view, especially on those sort of like long work days. But that would also then mean that we have our back to the door, which I'm pretty sure is just some bad feng shui. So that's something that we still need to figure out. Alternatively, we could place the desk more centrally in the room, so I could still see the view out of the one side with the window and then have the door inside the other way, which I think I would feel better about overall. The only thing that I'm debating is we currently have 2 monitors and a laptop that we use when working from home, and I worry that when you walk into the room, it won't look as aesthetic as some of these inspiration images where people have like a single Mac setup or a small laptop or something like that. One thing that I really want to upgrade though is our office chair. The one that we have now honestly is pretty fugly. What I do know that I want to keep for sure is that warm, inviting feeling into the space. I love the idea of having the natural sunlight flooding in, creating that sort of soft, cozy atmosphere, making us obviously feel quite productive and also relaxing at the same time. So in the main bathroom, we are hoping to have a separate bath and shower, but as with everything in a renovation, it will all come down to sort of space and layout. You can probably tell by now that we are keeping the same sort of theme aesthetic all throughout the house, and the bathroom is not any exception. But it may be the one room that I don't actually do LVT wood style flooring. I was intending to do it, and then I came back to my inspiration images and realized that basically none of them had that, and that a lot of them had a stone floor. I think that we may try that in this room first before we decide to introduce that anywhere else. One feature that I do really want is a half wall built shower, and not only does that sort of help section off some of the space, but it also gives the ability to have some hidden storage for all those things like shower gel, shampoos, and everything else that can often clutter up a bathroom. Josh, on the other hand, is set on having a freestanding bathtub. Because we have concrete flooring, we may need to put the bath on like a raised platform. So that's something that we'll definitely have to figure out with our plumbers. So next up is the living room. While I don't want something super sleek and modern for where the fireplace is going to go or the log burner is going to go, I also don't know if we have any nice bricks behind it. And so I've been saving a mix of the different options, the brick background fireplaces, and then some of the more clean cut options as well. The brick options do feel like a better choice in terms of heat resistance and also durability, especially when you consider any dirt or smoke marks from the log burner over time. But let's see what we uncover when we open up. I love the idea of having a decorative surround. Now, onto the sofa situation, which has honestly been harder than I thought it was going to be to decide on. So Josh and I can't find a compromise on this. He likes the super modern styles, and then I like the really traditional look. So we may have to try and find somewhere to meet in the middle on this one, and ideally without spending a fortune because sofas are ridiculously expensive. I personally love the sofas that have the skirted bottom, but Josh thinks that they look really old-fashioned. If you have an opinion on this, let me know in the comments down below. Are you team skirted sofas or do you agree with Josh? And then there's our massive 75-inch TV. Plan is to mount that above the fireplace with some bookshelves on either side, and they will also definitely be a form of a DIY project, so stick around for that. Now on to the bedroom, which for me is all about creating a space that feels really calm, cozy and natural. So we sold our Super King bed when we moved in as we didn't want to have to pay to store it, and I am completely drawn to this style with the fabric headboard but then also having the wooden accents on the frame. I also used to love having drawers under the bed, but honestly over time they just collected dust and it made it impossible to properly clean underneath. So this time we're going to go for a bed that is raised off the ground and it's going to make it so much easier to keep it clean underneath. There's definitely going to be lots of decorative pillows, and I'm planning to bring in some patterned fabrics for a little bit more character. I may even rope in my auntie to helping me make the pillowcases because she is an amazing seamstress, so that could also be another fun project. I also want to add some wall paneling to some of the main walls along with some artwork that feels really like personal. So rather than buying everything brand new, I am planning to collect some pieces along the way from charity shops and some antique stores, things like that. So something that I keep seeing everywhere is people buying old like bedside cabinets or units from Facebook Marketplace and then upcycling them, and I really want to give that a go. So we've gone through all of that inspiration, but are you still thinking, I don't quite see that in your rooms? But sometimes visualizing the end result is tough, and that's where AI tools can come in. So I've always been fascinated by AI. After testing multiple tools, the best ones that I have found is Midjourney and Chrome AI when it comes to house renovation. So Midjourney is absolutely incredible for creating really realistic, crisp, sharp images. And that's perfect for when you're looking to get inspiration on styles, color schemes, maybe different overall layout ideas and aesthetics. But when it comes to exterior design and you use Midjourney, it does change the structure of the house. And that's where Chrome AI comes in. Chrome AI, on the other hand, doesn't have the sharpest image quality, but it is a game changer in terms of keeping the overall structure of a building or of a room. Plus, it allows you to import some specific furniture and home decor items into your ideas. So for me, using both of those tools together has completely changed the way that I've approached the home design phase. If you'd like a step-by-step tutorial on how I achieve some of the designs in this video, then let me know in the comments. I'd love to share some more. In this video, there were quite a few design and layout dilemmas that I need your help with, so please let me know in the comments below. Next week's video will include lots more of us getting stuck into the hard work ourselves, some updates on some contractors that we've been able to book, and getting even closer to taking some of those structural walls down. If you haven't already, please make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any updates. We'll see you next week.